Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV here in Ardashir, where I want to do the Relic quest for Heavensward, that begins here in Ardashir at Rowena. An unexpected proposal. Good evening to you, Desiree. Something in mind? I've been calling back to Raven's Toll to take care of a new shipment of wares. But if you have matters of money that require my attention... Hold the thought. It seems I have visitors, some more welcome than others. Pardon the intrusion, Mistress Rowena. I realized I was here only a few days ago, but I must really speak with you about... Good, you're still here. We need to talk about that promissory note. Now I know what you're thinking. That stinking sack of gabushite ain't got me goddamn money. Well, you're wrong. I saved it up every last gil. The thing is, my mates took me out for a drink to celebrate and... Excuse me, sir, but when people are talking, it's generally considered rude to interrupt. I know not what manner of business you have with Rowena, but I'm quite sure it can wait. As I was saying, Mistress Rowena, have you perchance been able to arrange a meeting with your associate? There is much I would ask of them about their work on arcane centuries. Hold your bleeding minute. You are telling me to wait? Did no one ever tell you to shut your gob when grown-ups are talking? Me life and more importantly me note at the tavern at stake here. Now be a good lad and bugger off to Uncle Geralt's had to say. Geralt, mind your own advice for once and keep quiet. I'll deal with you soon enough. Regarding your question, Ardashir, the answer is no. The client I had in mind is a bit of a recluse and stubborn as hell in her old age. She wouldn't hear of any meeting, and I ain't got time to press her on it at the moment. Too much to do by half. Sounds like enough on your plate without having to worry yourself over an old maid's owings. Tell you what, let's forget about it for... I do not care what hole you have drunken yourself into, sir. But quite frankly, I do not care. I have important business to discuss with Mistress Rowena, and I demand you leave us be this instant. You saw today. Jumped up self-serving little shite, a lot of you. Fine. Tell us then, your highness, what's this business of yours that's more important than a man's life, huh? Well, out of it. Very well, if only to explain myself to Rowena. Together with my master, I've been conducting research into the manipulation of spiritual and ethereal energies in what you call the Near East. Our work has shown that the soul is in fact an agglomeration of a specific type of force. This force defines the quiddity of man and makes us who we are. While the soul is indeed inimitable, we believe it's possible to create a quasi-soul. Thus we turned our attention to Anima, the self-same force which allows individuals to traverse their life stream. They are aetherites. By infusing a soul stone with the requisite quantities of aether, this force may be harnessed. Yet after years of research and experimentation, we have naught to show for it, but inert husks of stone. We repeated the process again and again, adjusting every element, but the result was always the same. At length, my master declared the project a failure, and turned his thoughts to other matters. But I could not give up, not after witnessing the beauty of Anima, not after coming so close, and that is why I have journeyed hither to Eorzea. I'm certain that, with a Sharlayan's knowledge of arcane centuries, I can complete my project. I'm also certain that the resultant souls will be worth more to mankind than the ill-soaked dish cloud that passes for yours. Finished, have you? Well then, allow me to retort. Seems to me you're a cocked little brat as speaks a lot without saying aught. You talk like a man of learning, when it's plain you're just a boy what never had a thought of his own, and couldn't even if he tried. Not that you ever would, of course. And why? Because the users today can't be bothered to do an ounce of honest work for themselves. No sense of duty. Things get rough and you run for hell, leaving a trail of piss in your wake. Do you reckon them scholarly folks from Sharlayan asked for the answers whenever they got stuck? Not bloody likely, because they used their bloody brains. It ain't even that hard. If I saw those soul things burning out too quickly, I'd think about sealing them inside somewhat strong, like a weapon maybe, to keep all that life from escaping. It'll cost them a bit of freedom, but it would keep them around for a damn sight longer than you managed. What's more, if the bloody things really are alive like you say, you'd end up with a weapon that could think for itself, which could be a bloody lethal in the right hands. What do you say to that, you pruning little shite? An Anima weapon? That's absolutely genius! A means not only to preserve created Anima, but to employ it. Anima weapons, huh? Aye, that'll sell. Quite an interesting proposition, Gerolt. One that could be quite lucrative. Why not help poor Ardashir here with his work and see what you can make of it? Help that spineless streak of piss? You're joking, ain't ya? Why the seven else would I play nursemaid to a watery-eyed brat like him? I was just spouting shite, it didn't really mean none of it. Is that right? Pity. Sounded like something you could have made a good bit of coin out of. Enough to make me forget your debts, like as not. Your debts that I won't be forgetting otherwise. Changed your mind? Good. Listen, Ardashir. He may be a drunken bloody fool, but he's also the finest blacksmith in all the realm. If anyone can forge a weapon capable of holding your souls, it's him. And our adventuring friend here, my dear sweet Desiree, is a well-known hero around these parts. I'm sure she'd love nothing more than to try out your new weapons when it's finished. Ain't that right? Just think of it, you'd be the first in all of Eorzea to wield one of these Anima weapons. Which ain't a bad name now that I come to think of it. Anima weapon. Aye, that'll do. What? Me? Now don't be hasty, Desiree. This here's fate. What else could have brought the three of you to me at the same time, huh? And don't go telling me the thought of a weapon that learned and adapts to combat don't interest you, because we both know it does. Well, alright. Gerolt, was it? Pray forgive my rudeness earlier. If you truly are the smith she claims, I would be honored to have your assistance. And you, Desiree, I gather you are the perfect candidate to test the weapon once it's complete. Well, if this'll get me square with Rowena, then I suppose mi hammer's yours. But don't think I'm getting roped into this alone. If I have to forge it, you have to wield it. Alright. Thank you, both of you. I promise we will not regret this. Nice to see you all getting on. Now, you're going to need a place to work, and I know just the spot. Azizla, the seat of elegant science, floating on high over Avalafia's spine. Not that the equipment up there will be any use to you, mind. Only the 12 know how that stuff works. Still, it'll keep prying eyes away until the weapon's ready. I'll arrange for an airship and take you within the day. The fabled Azizla. I look forward to seeing you there, Desiree. Today has proven to be more productive than I thought. Geralt's out of my hair, and soon I'll have new merchandise for the House of Splendors. Assuming this ridiculous plan of this works. I'm counting on you, Desiree. Yes. Speak to Ardashir in Azizla. Now, Ardashir. The fabled Azizla. I've heard stories, but who would believe such a technological marvel could exist and floating in the sky at that? If only my master could see me now. But this is not the time for gawping. Come, let's begin our work on the Anima weapon. Anima weapons, a new saga begins. Soul without life. Please note that upon completing the quest Soul Without Life, you will receive an Anima weapon for a monk. Do you want to do for something else, or for the monk? Why? Because I'm a monk right now, right? I take it you're ready to proceed? Excellent. Gerolt has already begun work on the weapon that will serve to contain the Anima. The difficulty lies in sustaining the thing long enough for the transfer to take place. But with the appropriate stabilizing materials, I believe it should be possible, provided we act quickly. I have brought several soul stones with me, so you needn't worry about that. I shall see that one is fitted to your weapon. The only needful things I do not currently possess are crystals capable of handling the quantities of aether required for our work. To be specific, you will need astral and umbral nodules. Would that we were working in Razatan, I know of a merchant there who sold them. Costly, by the way, I was never wanting for supplies. Perhaps Mrs. Rowena would know of someone willing to trade? Might you be willing to speak with her on my behalf? No doubt whoever she refers you to will not part with them readily, but I trust you will be able to come to some manner of arrangement. In the meantime, Gerolt and I will finish preparations for the Anima weapon. Safe travels, friend. And that means going to Mordona, because that is where Rowena wanted to go. In her usual place here in Mordona. Well, that is my favorite adventurer. How's that Anima weapon coming along? Astral and umbral nodules, Might be a Sindani will have what you're after. She's a jeweler by trade, but her work with crystals is something to behold, let me tell you. They say she can strip them of elements, charge them with new ones, even make them out of thin air if you can believe such a thing. Can't vouch for the rumors myself, but her profits say plenty. She can be a bit picky about clients, but you being the warrior of light and all, I'm sure your sparkling reputation will catch her eye like the crystals she's so fond of. If you go upstairs, you'll find her out on the terrace. Here and down there, Sindani. Ah, the warrior of light. What a pleasant surprise. No need to be alarmed, my dear. It's my business to know all of Earzia's treasures, be they material or mortal. But tell me, to what do I owe the pleasure? Astral and umbral nodules? My. I see you're a woman with unusual tastes. Might I ask what you plan to do with such curious crystals? An essence akin to the soul? I suppose such peculiar work would call for crystals as equally peculiar. Well, you are wise to seek me out. I have dedicated my life to the study of crystals, and I cannot bear the thought of knowing there are crystals I could not procure. Mind you, these are no mere baubles and trinkets you ask of me. Crystals of such purity are not easily come by. But to also be so rich in astral and umbral aspected energies? Still, with the proper materials I believe it can be done. It will require a great deal of effort, obviously, and of a specific persuasion. I'm informed that when a man falls in battle, a residual energy hangs in the air for long after a spirit has returned to the life stream. This energy can infuse crystals in the vicinity with a purity not often seen in nature. A purity essential for what you desire. I can use these crystals, luminous crystals I call them, to imbue empty ones with the astral and umbral energies necessary to create what you seek. But I will require one crystal of every element. They will not be easy to come by, of that I can assure you. You will likely have to scour every ilm of Eorzea to find them. However, there may be another way to acquire the aether we need. It requires something of a rarer sort, something much more precious than luminous crystals. As I mentioned before, it's my business to know all of Eorzea's treasures, and if the rumors are true, there exist certain weapons of legends said to have supped on the souls of countless enemies. In fact, a certain great hero who wields one of these weapons is supposedly working with a young researcher somewhere beyond the Sea of Cloud. Though, this is only what I've heard. I will not hold you to ransom on the strength of mere hearsay. Even so, the rumors of these weapons are not so easily dismissed. Embodiments of war, veritable reservoirs of soul energy. If you were in possession of such a weapon, creating these astral and umbral nodules would be a child's play. Or you could simply collect the requisite luminous crystals. I will assist you all the same. I leave a choice in your famously capable hands. Players who possess a Zodiac weapon Zeta may exchange it for the astral and umbral nodules. Please note, however, that the Zodiac weapon Zeta will be lost upon completing the exchange. So if you have done the entire Realm Reborn Relic quest, and don't mind losing your Relic weapon you spent probably weeks working for, you can turn it in here to skip this first quest. Alternatively, players who may also acquire the astral and umbral nodules in exchange for elementally expected luminous crystals. These crystals may be obtained, albeit at a low probability, by participating in fates in certain areas. Luminous crystals can be obtained fates in the Sea of Clouds. Luminous fire crystals in Ardashir, lightning crystals surrounding mists, ice crystals in the Corbus Islands, earth crystals in the Rowena and water crystals in the Hinterlands. So, all Heavensward areas. Players will receive the astral nodule in exchange for a luminous wind, fire, and lightning crystal, and umbral nodules for ice, earth, and water, because those are the astral and umbrally aspected elements. You can do this with any drop. While this quest is active, you can farm. You also can farm several of one, and so you can just I have this weapon, this weapon, this weapon, this weapon, and this weapon finished in an instant, basically. Anyway, fate farming is basically like the Atma we had in Realm Reborn, just only 6 instead of 12. See you then back when we turn these in. Alright, I'm done. Turning in the stuff. Offer luminous crystals. So if you get the requisite luminous crystals, quite the hard and travel, aren't you? As you're not aware, each nodule requires a different mixture of crystals. So which would you have on me? And I have enough for 2 of each. And back to Azizla. Okay, Ardashir. Are you able to acquire what we need? Yes. Yes, these appear to be genuine. I do not ask what it cost you, but you have my sincerest thanks. As promised, the Soul Stone is ready. All that remains now is the Aether infusion. And if a weapon Gerolt forge is strong enough to contain the resulting Anima, we should soon be the proud parents of a living weapon. Now then, let us begin. The Aether has taken hold in the Soul Stone, but it will not last long. Quickly, Gerolt, seal it in the weapon before the Aether fades. That should do it. That thing ain't going nowhere. Now, there's a weapon worthy of legends. Aye, an Anima weapon. pair of animated rising suns. Wielded with pride, lass. Though I wouldn't say she's a finished article just yet, a weapon fresh from a forge is one thing, but it's the life we're talking about. She's not but a suckling babe. She wants putting through her paces and toughening up. I can pound her with my hammer, of course, but that ain't no substitute for a real battle. If you ask me, you need to get out there and teach that Anima what it means to be a warrior. Excuse me, Gerolt, but might I have a word with our friend here? It was, after all, my research that brought us this far. Yes, and Geralt's idea about the Anima weapons. Come this way, let us discuss the next step in developing the Anima. Anima weapons quests may be repeated anytime. However, please note you may only undertake these quests in one job at a time. So you cannot have two of the same steps at the same time with two separate weapons. Toughening up. Monk, yes. So this way, the task of unlocking the Anima's potential begins in earnest. I only wish I could offer some words of wisdom on the subject. Alas, my original studies only went so far as the Anima's creation. Now that we've given a body in your weapon, I'm afraid we're entering an unfamiliar territory. As of now, the Anima is not unlike a newborn babe. A lack of proper sensory stimulation could well cause it to stagnate or even disappear despite the measures we have taken. As such, it's imperative that we help it to mature and grow accustomed to its new form. Aye, and there ain't no better place to test a weapon than on the front line. And seeing as you're rarely off the front line, it shouldn't take you long to whip that thing into shape. Mayhap this is why my own trials always ended in failure. Without a proper body, the Anima had no purpose. It could not be put to a task which would grant it the requisite stimulation. If you are all Mistress Rowena claims you to be, I have no doubt you will find a suitable challenge for our young judge. And if you're not sure where to go, just think back on some of your old bowel-loosening adventures. I strolled through a few of them dank holes you lot like, say, 10 or so, and I bet me next round at the Druvers, your weapon will have got into its swing of things. If it's not too much trouble, I should very much like to accompany you on your travels. As I said before, this is uncharted territory in the growth of Anima, and I would be a disgrace to my profession if I let any developments pass unrecorded. My thanks, Desiree. For my part, I promise to stay out of harm's way, observing your progress from as safe a vantage point as possible. But things like to need a few tweaks when you come back, but you leave that to me. I'll work out any faults you find and I'll pound them into a weapon worthy of ours of splendors. With a weapon equipped enters Snowcloak, and Gerolt already said it is 10 dungeons we're going down this list. Snowcloak, Sastasha Heart, Sunken Temple Karnheart, Keeper of the Lake, Wondrous Palace, Amdapor, Keep, Dusk Vigils, Somal, Airy, and Vault. Interrupted after Sunken Temple, Amdapor Keep, and after Vault, a short dialogue with Ardashir all the way. So I won't take you through all those dungeons again, just the steps. After the third dungeon, Sunken Temple of Karnheart, we find ourselves in front of a temple with Ardashir waiting for us. I'm glad to see you are still whole. But tell me, have you noticed any changes on the Anima? Not yet, no. I see. It was far more slowly than I anticipated. No matter. Let us continue. Alright. Alright, just finished on the poor key part. And that means 6 dungeons done and 4 to go. Ardashir. Midterm report. Well fought, Desiree. You know, these lands really are quite beautiful. Dangerous whatever they may be. Were it not for my logbook, I would swear I was in some manner of sightseeing tour. Of course, all that ghastly bloodletting does rather spoil the picture, but I digress. How's the Anima? Still no changes? Not that I've noticed. That is most unfortunate. Yet we must take solace in the fact that it has not yet faded from the weapon. I'm certain it will quicken. 'Tis but a question of when. Let us press on to our next destination. Lead the way, Desiree. Uh-huh. Something does happen. Okay. Finally all 10 dungeons done. The last one was the vault. Ardashir. There you are. I'm glad to see you are unhurt. Pray, forgive me. While waiting here, my eyes could not help but be drawn to the architecture. Breathtaking, is it not? Back to the matter at hand. How fares the Anima weapon? Surely by now it has shown some hint of life. The Anima took on a corporeal form. Then it has quickened. Gerolt must hear of this. I will turn to Ardashir and relay to him the good news. When you're rested, meet us there. Looking at the architecture ourselves. Hey you. Where to? I need a different weapon, so I can actually turn in the quest. Desiree, you returned. Excellent. Thank the bloody gods. Maybe now we can stop gibbering like a bleeding opera and tell me what happened out there. I'm guessing things went well? Have you not listened to a word I said? Desiree believes the Anima has achieved cognitive self-awareness, manifesting itself as a corporeal form independent of the receptacle you created. I've had it up to here with your bleeding cocks and corpses. Speak plain, boy. Having experienced battle together with Desiree, the Anima has melded with your weapon. More than that, the Anima may have taken on a unique physical form. It spoke to you? Remarkable. What did it sound like? And what did it say? I thought I heard a woman whispering. Amazing. The Anima is already learning how to communicate. Oh, if only my master were here. I can hardly wait to see what else it is capable of. And I look forward to going home. Anyway, give me a weapon, William. I'll bet there's still room for improvement somewhere or other. Awoken. What did I tell you? Better than you. If that Anima was sleeping before, it sure as hell ain't sleeping now. Never seen a weapon do that in all my years in the trade. What an exquisite glow. It's as if the Anima could burst forth at any moment. If so young an Anima was able to take form of its own volition, imagine what it might become given time. A force that shines bright enough to make the very stars burn with envy. The Anima weapon has awakened from its slumber, ascending to new heights of power. Coming into its own. Nexus 210. This is not quite as high a jump as this one was. The Anima's growth thus far is well beyond what I expected. By absorbing aether during our travels, it has matured enough to take on a form separate from the weapon and even speak to Desiree. To grow so quickly would have required a substantial amount of aether. However, the Soul Stone is not without its limits. As it continues to absorb aether and grow, I fear it may not bear the strain of further development. You're telling me after all the work I did, the Anima could swell up like a bombard and burst? Well, better have a plan to fix it, cause I sure as hell ain't starting over. Who exactly do you think you're talking to? This is my life's work. A shorter time as that may be. Of course, I have a plan. If we can reinforce the Soul Stone and increase its capacity for etheric energy, it should remain stable. I will speak with Rowena and see to collecting what we require. You had me fooled when you was begging and pleading to see what Charlie in books before. Got to know your incompetence was only for show. Well, seeing as you have everything under control, if you don't mind, I think I'll run off to some tavern and get deep in your cups. Sadly, you haven't the time nor the coin for it. Not when you have a new weapon to make for our friend Desiree here. A new weapon? I just finished fixing one she has now. What else do we need another? Just as we develop and change over time, it's only fitting the Anima should as well. Or do you mean to tell me you were always such a gentleman, even as a child? It never ends, does it? Fine, if it'll help settle my debt with Rowena, you'll have your bleeding weapon. If you're attaching the Soul Stone to a new weapon, we're gonna need materials for conducting aether. That's where you come in. I need you to go and fetch me some enchanted rubber, fast-drying carbon coat, and fast-acting elegant catalyst, and divine water. I know a lass in Mordorna what sells them. Christiana is her name. Like as not, you'll find her keeping a corner somewhere at Vaul's Splendors. They won't come cheap, but you're a resourceful sort. I'm sure you think of something. Now, a woman Gerolt seeks is here to our left, beside the staircase. Christiana. A customer? A customer? You're a customer, aren't you? I mean, I realize this isn't the proper store, but I do have wares to sell. But it's, if you're willing to buy them. Have you come to buy my wares? Aether conductive materials. I think I have what you're looking for, but it won't come cheap. Truth be told, I don't get buyers for these items all that often. But now that I have you, my new favorite customer, I'm sure to turn a profit, and then I can build a style of my very own. But I don't want your gear. No, dealing with gear is much too messy. What with all the counting and sorting and finding a place so bartering is much simpler, don't you think? There are a few things I'd be willing to trade for if you're interested. The goods requested by Christiana can be obtained through various means, including dungeons, beast tribes, and crafting. Speak with our players and share information to discover how to find them. Now, I know the unidentified items here can be gotten from the beast tribes or beast tribe tokens. Or from, you can buy them from Rowena for poetics tokens. And these things can be gotten for grand company seals from your grand company. Or you can craft them. With Elementite Francesca, Titanium Alloy Mirror, Dispelling Arrow, and King Cake. So, but I got them already. I got the unidentified stuff from the ARR beast tribes because they are cheaper there, but you need to have basically then all the combat beast tribes. Yeah, every beast tribe only sells one of the 4 items, unlike the Heavensward beast tribes, which sell all of them, but for double the price. In case of a Moogle, probably triple the price. Okay, back to Gerolt. Get everything we need? Good. Hand it over. The weapon too. Ardashir is ready to work on the Soulstone and he won't shut up about it. At least now it'll all be over. Good on you, lass. Now then, let us make a weapon, eh? Can't say I've ever forged something quite so extraordinary. A weapon fit for your growing Anima. Nah, something more than that. A beauty worthy of ballads. The Ref Ragnar. The gods themselves would be jealous of knuckles so fine. Hello. They're not seeing it, it seems. Thank you. Wait till Rowena takes a gander at this. We keep this up and she'll be giving me notes, I promise. To be honest, I once questioned what use I had for a drunkard with a hammer, but you've proven yourself to be quite the competent blacksmith when you're sober. Desiree, I'm at a loss as to how to express my thanks. You look danger in the eye, unflinching, risking life and limb to help me. I hope someday I can repay your kindness. Sure, she carried it around a bit, but I made the damn thing. Don't I deserve a little more than left-handed compliments? Just appeared again. What? The Anima manifested itself again? When? But I didn't see anything. Are you certain? What do I know? Why is it that only you are able to see the Anima when it chooses to present itself? Maybe it's got no interest in the likes of you. I suppose the Anima is not yet strong enough. Perhaps one day, after it has fully matured, we too will be able to behold its wonders. This calls to mind Tavnarian literature on the Zodiac Braves, legendary heroes who wielded arms of unparalleled strength. But soon they will tell tales of a new legend, of you and your Anima weapon. Now don't be getting ahead of yourself, lad. There's no denying its beauty, but there's still room for improvement. You said so yourself, the Anima ain't fully matured yet. I do not need you to remind me of such things. I have kept a rather comprehensive account of everything we have done thus far. With all the data I've collected, it's only a matter of time before the next step in foisting the Anima is clear. Which reminds me, Desiree, would you care to read over my notes on your work? You're more than welcome to pore over them at your leisure. They are on the table over there. Aye, that's the way, lad. Every step that brings us closer to finishing this bleeding weapon brings me a step closer to a life free from debt and that guilt-swindling wench Rowena. Your weapon has been forged anew and the Anima's strength blossoms. Anima Crossing. I'm not certain how long this episode now is. And yes, Animaniac the Ragnar. Unlike the ARR weapons, where only the first step to actually getting the base relic gets you an achievement and the others only for doing it once, you get an achievement for you get a whole series of achievements for every Anima weapon you craft. So if you're a completionist, this might take a while. Yeah, and as I wanted to say, I'm not sure how long this episode will be now, but I think I ended here. Until next time, when we play more Final Fantasy XIV. I'm Mace, and don't get lost.